Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And in a recent video, Crimsix has revealed that this past off-season he was looking at his opportunities most certainly to try and stay in the CDL before making the decision to retire. Chief among potential opportunities may well have been the Seattle Surge. Apparently he pushed pretty hard those Seattle guys to try and get him onto the team, but they stuck to their guns, didn't drop accuracy in his favour, but could it actually have been a good idea? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that on Tactical Academy as usual. Absolutely do not miss. Now, first of all, I wanted to mention a couple of things on, well, the roster side. Ravens only team as yet not to have confirmed their team for next season. Minnesota Rokkr kind of have this thing going on lately where any team that hasn't yet announced, that was the subliners for a time. Also, I think even maybe Vegas and Florida and the other teams that announced not too long ago, they were kind of dropping this type of stuff in the replies, and subliners were joking around about this. You know, we need new content ideas, do something new and original. Nah, not going to do that. Just annoy everyone about their roster reveal. But yeah, still a bit of a surprise this deep into the offseason that Ravens haven't confirmed, especially getting beaten by Paris or getting beaten by Vegas Legion, because usually they take an awful long time, Legion, to confirm anything at all. They've already done it this season, so I'm kind of rooting for their success, to be honest. Now, speaking of some roster stuff, I thought this was funny. So Volans, or formerly known as Volans now, player on the Boston Breach Academy alongside Doug and Beans and those guys, I think also maybe known as Kaiwin briefly, he's rebranded again back to Crimp. Now, I believe Crimp was maybe the name that he used to go by back in the day. Now, obviously he was getting roasted a fair bit for this because, I mean, yeah, look, of all the names you can choose, you can go all out and choose anything you want. You call yourself Crimp. I mean, it's an interesting one. I have no further commentary on this, but I thought this was kind of funny from Joey Nubsy. He tweeted this out back in a few days ago now. Bro, I mean this sincerely. I absolutely promise you that I'm never hearing Charles or Martin say Crimp. So, I mean, yeah, promises are made to be broken. He's going to try and get himself into the CDL. It's an interesting name choice, no doubt. He says it's the last one. So, I mean, look, he reckons it was his OG name. He wants to go by it, gets him gassed up. So, you know, we can't say anything because, in fairness, a lot of the UK scene literally just use their first name or whatever. Like, you know, we've got the likes of Joe and Josh and all these type of players that, you know, that's not particularly good, let's be honest here. So, you know, at least he's come up with something interesting and let's say original, and it'll certainly get people talking, as it already has, in fairness. So, look, we'll see how well he does on the Boston Academy alongside, well, Center and the boys this year. This quickly from Crone, gameplay from Control surface in the game. What do you guys want to see as a third mode? I think I voted Control just because I think, like, squad spawns, capture the flag on these maps in this game, like, I'm not really convinced that Infinity War going to do a good job of that. I think Control is a safer bet. If I had to choose between the two now, I'd probably take Control just because I think that there's a higher chance that it isn't horrible, but capture the flag at its peak is probably going to be better. So that's kind of the decision we have to weigh up here, and obviously if both are in the game, the pros can try both and decide, because we saw back in World War II when they put Gridiron in, which was just boots on the ground uplink, they tried that, they tried CTF, and there was like 1 or 2 votes separating the two, so they were going to do it actually and play Gridiron, but just about capture the flag won the vote between the pros. Now, of course, like, I would love to see a world in which uplink can return. That's the ultimate third game mode, but it doesn't really work in boots on the ground. They could really try and make it work, but as I say, Gridiron back in World War II wasn't really great, and it doesn't quite feel the same if there's no jetpacks, even if there's like a trampoline or something, which seems unlikely for them to put in regardless. Yeah, the community though seemingly does want capture the flag to return, so that's pretty interesting, and we'll see what the pros decide, because the community and the pros don't always agree on these type of topics over the last couple of seasons, right? We've certainly seen last year with you know, the snipers, for example, at the start of last season, and look, we'll see what the pros choose, because Black Ops 2 CTF was absolutely fantastic, and even earlier back in the day, Modern Warfare 2 and stuff, capture the flag was a fantastic game mode, but on different maps where it doesn't work so well, even Black Ops 3, to be honest, a fantastic game. CTF wasn't that good in that title. I mean, that year we had to play 4 game modes. It was hardpoint game 1, then search, then uplink, then capture the flag, and then search again for game 5. So there wasn't even 2 hardpoints that season because uplink and CTF were both played, and arguably it should have been 2 hardpoints over CTF because it was okay, but it wasn't great. And a lot of teams has had someone camping in their base the whole time, and you know, you can absolutely guarantee that's the way CTF would play in this game. World War II, it was okay, but Ardennes Forest was really the only map that played well, traditionally well, but it was super campy. London Docks, you just ran the flag down the middle. Like, it wasn't really a great CTF map from a traditional sense, but it was probably more entertaining to watch. So, look, we'll see if Infinity Ward can actually come up with a decent game mode here, but apparently it is in the game, so at least that is one positive thing to take away. Let's talk about Crim. Of course, he's got into the content side. I mean, yeah, look at this fantastic screenshot that he gives himself right here, which is probably what the Seattle Surge guys were thinking when he was reaching out to them potentially this past offseason, right? right? So we went to this car show, and a few days ago he does a fantastically funny video, really, talking about the potential GPAs, or basically how smart all the pros were when they were back in school. And he was talking about Mack, actually, and obviously some of the other guys in the league as well. I'll share what he had to say on Method, Ziddy, for example, as well. But yeah, he was talking about Mack, and I think he's joking about Mack here just because Mack used to work at Domino's. There was this funny clip that came out from back in the Cold War days when Clay was first teaming with Mack, and I think they're playing a raid control or something, and basically, Clayson was telling Mack, like, you don't understand how control works, why didn't you do X, Y, Z? And he was like, look, I was working at Domino's when control was first out in Black Ops 4, so I think that's kind of what Crim's joking around about here. But he also mentions, with regard to the Seattle Surge, that I'm guessing this past off-season, it could have been the off-season before, but that season it seemed kind of clear that Crim was going to go to New York, maybe with Clayster. Like, I guess there were other opportunities for him. I think maybe that season there was the possibility of Crim going from, like, obviously after getting dropped from the OpTic Texas situation and like the Dallas Empire merge, for him to go to maybe LAG, or like there was some talk about him like joining Slasher somewhere. So I'm guessing this point on the Seattle Surge is this past off season where he was probably looking at Boston, right? He probably wanted like Awakening to help him along there to get the AR spot maybe instead of Methods, but then also the Seattle Surge was understandably, I think, Crimsix's kind of key target.
Mack, I don't really know him all that well. He hasn't roasted me back, which, yo, if he ever decides to stream or do anything, yo, y'all show him support, because I've been calling him out as pepperoni pizza, Domino's. Mack, if this clip makes it to your eyes, just know that I'm sorry. And props to you, props to everyone on Surge. I try to get on that team so hard, and they all had each other's back. Props to Surge. Major Maniac. His dad was in the Army or Air Force or Navy, something like that. He got good grades. He got a 3.8, or he got a lot of spankings. Same as me. Zenny, he cared more about being the funny guy in class. 2.0. Fat Tony, back in the day, he cared more about getting laughs and getting Cheetos after school. He wondered, what from the gas station on the way home should I get today? And he thought about that for hours.
So of course we did see from Crimsix in his retirement video, and even since then he's kind of said, look, after he got dropped from that sublaner situation, he kind of knew that it was going to be GG well played, because New York actually decided to let him go as an unrestricted free agent. They didn't even like extend his contract and try and sell him, because, well, I think he thought at that time, like, damn, there might not be too many offers for me out there, otherwise they would have done that. So obviously he was looking for offers, and an unrestricted free agent could have gone anywhere. There were some opportunities, and Seattle, of course, given Crimsix's history, makes the most sense for any main AR in the league trying to get a spot. You want a team with Mack, Sib, and Pred. I mean, look, Crim's been around the block a long time. He's played with, well, his fair share of phenomenal players, and over the years, the kind of caliber of players that he's been able to team with has kind of quickly fallen off the last couple of seasons. I mean, really, Dallas Empire was good, but going this season onto New York wasn't quite the same caliber, and if he was to have competed again this season, he'd once again probably be on a team that wasn't so hot in terms of pure talent, and might not have even got a spot anyway. So I think from Crim's point of view, makes a lot of sense to try and get onto that Seattle Surge spot, but apparently the Seattle guys stuck with Accuracy, because I'm guessing that was going to be the situation to potentially be replaced there, and said, look, we want to keep Accuracy 100%, which I think in fairness is a sensible decision from the Seattle Surge guys. But there was a lot of talk about this, right? Should they keep Accuracy? Should they try and change? I mean, especially if Slasher was an option out there, like what would they do in that situation? To me, Accuracy is like obviously a great fit for these three guys. They had success together as a trio, plus Accuracy as their main AR. Accuracy is not going to be a guy dropping crazy numbers, but if you do bring Crim in, like what do you really get that Accuracy doesn't necessarily bring? You're not guaranteed to get better numbers out of Crim. You might get a different mentality and mindset or whatever, but that can help push you further maybe. But I guess they feel like Accuracy did perfectly well enough in that role, and also maybe had better team chemistry than you might expect to happen if Crim was to come into this team. So yeah, I guess the team shut him down. Probably Seattle Surge as an organization, if Mack, Pred, and Sib all thought, you know what, Accuracy, guy's a bit of a burger, let's get Crim in, the greatest of all time, they probably would have gone for it, right? Because he was unrestricted, they could have made it happen. And they do have some money, Seattle, not crazy money, but they do have a pretty significant amount of money. But I guess all the team decided, Mack, Pred, and Sib, they're like, look, we want to keep Accuracy, we want to run it back with him. I think it's a good decision. Now, what happens this offseason? That is the question to me, because at some point, Accuracy, you know, like, look, he's in the last couple of years of his career. You'd imagine he's probably in the twilight of his career to a certain extent. And look, how long does he still have competing? He's been a solid player, obviously, for many years. won plenty of events, but I guess he probably realizes that, you know, in due course within the next couple of seasons, he's probably going to be moving on from competing unless he absolutely fries and the team does incredibly well this season. And if that is the case, then, you know, for sure he can keep going if the team wants to build around him, because look, a great IGL like accuracy is few and far between and difficult to find. And the fact that, you know, they were sure seemingly that they wanted to keep accuracy over Crim is quite the statement in terms of, you know, what accuracy brought to this team and the favor that he has within that camp, to be honest. But also I feel like, you know, in due course it makes sense for accuracy probably to become a coach of a certain team. I think he'd do a phenomenal job in that role, even maybe of this Seattle Surge squad in the future. And there were questions whether there was talks of that this past off season, really. I mean, look at the gas as well that Pred gets here from accuracy, as Formal says, I'd kill for some Lamar gas. And he was like, look, you're the best player of the game, and this is the type of stuff why, you know, accuracy is such a good player in his particular role. And also, you know, the accuracy or the aBeZy Institute, right, of rotations and stuff like this, just teaching these guys how to play the game at a high level, all his years of experience, just seemingly a perfect leader for these guys. Makes sense they wanted to keep him on board, but of course this is one of the key decisions of why Crimsix was forced to retire. Let's talk this real quick, because in a couple of days time, of course, we've got the Hitch throwback tournament in Arlington, Texas, when there's other things going on, but also a Black Ops 2 Invitational is happening that weekend. And as he says, you know, he's really looking forward to it and stuff. Now, Hitch has also talked about the possibility of a World Cup, right? Now, I do kind of find it a little bit strange, and to be fair, Scrappy did delete a load of these tweets, but so many of these kind of new gen players just do seem allergic, as Hitch says, to any sort of fun or good content or anything. So as Scrappy says, just in the CDL World Cup would be a good idea. Who's blasted, right? Saying the idea of doing a World Cup is a terrible plan. Now, of course, look, to some degree, generally in the World Cup as it is, like any World Cup, you're going to get some teams that are the dominant forces over others. That's how it is. The USA team is obviously going to be the favourites in the World Cup. That's how it's going to be. But it's not like the Canadian team or other countries are going to be bad at all. And depending on how you did the groups, you could have a Spanish team, you could have, you know, Mexican team, like all this type of stuff would be really cool. Australian team as well, and build teams from around the world. Japanese team you bring in also. So, you know, it could be a great time. And just because some teams might not be so competitive with the real top dogs doesn't necessarily mean, in my opinion, it wouldn't be good to watch. So as Scrappy says here, you know, not at all. You've got 4 competitive teams that would be good to watch. Am I wrong? It's not always about the finals. You'd probably get some banger games in groups depending how the tournament ran. Canada versus England, Australia versus Spain, Scotland versus France. You could get aBeZy, you know, Gutaga from France, like Vicstar, of course, from the UK, all on board, or from England, I guess. So, I mean, yeah, it'd be really cool, honestly, I think. And as Scrappy says, I get that. Australia versus Spain, Scotland versus France, etc. Teams that barely have very good COD players, that's a snooze fest and a half. So, I mean, like, Scrappy, like, I don't know, he probably has a point here to a certain extent. But I don't know, I feel like it could still be fun, right, and interesting to watch. So, look, I don't exactly expect it to happen. If it was going to happen, the CDL would probably have to put it on, but they did it for Overwatch. So, like, I think it can happen, and I think it'd be far more entertaining than Scrappy is probably suggesting here, to be perfectly honest. And even as Lyman said in reply to a tweet that has since been deleted, working on something here for Breaking Point. I mean, look at this. Team USA, Scump, Simp, Sib, and Cellium. Like, I mean, yeah, look at these jerseys and stuff. It's pretty cool stuff. It'd be absolutely hype if the CDL put on something like this. And, yeah, I doubt the theory that it's actually not going to be particularly entertaining. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section. But I just wanted to finish up with this clutch as well here from Kells from last night's Hitch. Well, the night before, I suppose now. 1 versus 3 in this tournament. I mean, yeah, nasty clutch. Not just against Farmers. This is against Porlex, Vivid, and Method. So 3 of the guys that are pretty much going to be on that Boston team for next season. Paul, of course, over on the London side as well. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. Tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. I just like you should see it as well. And hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
There's another one on you. Yeah.
Oh, pause weak on A, bro. I'm bombing that one's like above in the control room.
On top and then top there. Nice.
Have his life. You
Where was
playing methods.
He was their top cat.
You can be soundering.
Here above you, top lane. What train?
Oh,
Nice,
disgusting.
I don't know what I did to Vivid
Disgusting.
though.
You fucking dream, bro.